Darnell, they finally had a game at the Ford Center tonight. It seems like they've been on the road forever with a home game sprinkled in here and there, but a rousing 127-108 win over the Wizards. Very entertaining game. A lot of three-pointers, a lot of fast break points. But yet after the game, Scott Brooks says, I love it. The crowd was great, but this isn't how we want to win on a regular basis. What was your analysis of it? Because it was a very entertaining game to where the Wizards always made a run. The Thunder always rebuilt the lead. I think it was one of the more exciting games they've had in their 1+ seasons here.
Yeah, I think it is. And I think the key that Scott Brooks was trying to say is that you don't want to get into the habit of trying to outscore your opponents and scoring triple digits every night. I mean, the Wizards still shot 47%. I thought the defense did look pretty good for both teams, but guys just made shots. And I think Brooks' main point is you can't get into the habit of trying to make it an up-and-down game. You want to rely on your defense. That's what they've preached since the start of training camp. And, frankly, that's what's worked in these first 13 games, so he wants to stick to that formula.
Well, I thought the irony, though, is he went small in the fourth quarter, which leads to a more wide-open transition game. And the stat sheet also shows 28-10 Thunder in fast break points. So even if you, quote, are playing the Wizards style tonight, they played their style better than the Wizards did, and that's a major reason why they won. One other factor was Harden. He had a big game in Orlando the other night, a lot of it in garbage times in the fourth quarter, but tonight he was sort of the exclamation mark in the fourth quarter, had the highlight play of the game. What were your thoughts of him tonight?
Well, career high 25 points for him after, 24 in Orlando. So tonight I think we got our first glimpse inside the Ford Center of what James Harden was expected to bring to this team with his perimeter shooting. I think he nailed about 4 or 5 three-pointers tonight. So I think James Harden is just starting to get comfortable with his role. I think as time goes on, he's going to get used to playing with Kevin Durant, Jeff Green, and Russell Westbrook, sort of find his niche on this team, and he knocked down shots like he was able to do tonight.
And speaking of the stars, Kevin Durant has, 35 after that season-low 12. Green had a double-double by halftime. Wasn't quite as solid in the second half, but one of his better games of the season. And then Russell Westbrook was steady again. But the 3 stars really came out and shined tonight, too, not just Harden.
Yeah, Jeff Green, to me, is who really stood out. 11 points, 6 rebounds in the first quarter alone. He played volleyball on the rim. I mean, he was a nightmare for Antoine Jamison there in the low post and out on the perimeter. I think he got his shooting stroke back tonight. You look at what he did defensively. Really, everyone for the Wizards had a good night offensively for the most part. But I thought Jeff Green did play well defensively. And when they played well together, I think this team is a much better team. Rarely this season have we gotten to see Jeff Green, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Nanat all put it together. And for the most part, those guys were able to do that tonight.
A lot of people would say this is the hardest stretch of the season for the Thunder. I mean, they've been to the West Coast, they've been to Houston, they've been to San Antonio, they went to Miami, they went to Orlando. Guess what? Now they go to the Lakers in Utah. That'll sort of end this stretch before they come home for 2 weeks and 5 straight home games. How do you see the tail end of this really rugged stretch? Because they are above 500 again, but now they go play the Lakers and Utah on the road, 2 teams that are always tough to beat on their home court.
Well, I think the main thing is they've got confidence now. They've been in every game except for one, the one last Wednesday at Orlando. You look at tonight's win, they really dominate the Wizards for the most part. Every time they came back, they were able to pull away. The Wizards never led in this game. I think that's going to give them confidence going into L.A. and Utah. They're playing well right now as a unit, and I think these 2 wins, these 2 upcoming games are going to be a good tell-all sign of where this team really is. They're 7-6 right now. If they can go out there and get one of these road games, I think that's going to be a big step forward for this Thunder team.
That'll wrap it up from the Ford Center. Be sure to read Darnell's coverage on this upcoming road trip on newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.